Yo, I'm about to crash out. Yeah, yeah, screw the intro. We're not doing the intro this time. I'm about to fucking crash out. Why is everyone hating on my favorite movie of 2025? Why is everyone hating on him? Okay? Why? This movie, it's not doing super well. It's kind of bombing. It's got a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. It might be even going lower. Uh, Low scores both from critics and audiences. I'm surprised. To be fair, as far as the box office goes, it's out in theaters at the same time as the new Demon Slayer movie, which is making all of the money. So there you go. That's one reason. But yeah, not getting the best reviews, so that definitely contributes to it. Him, yeah, no, I thought the trailer looked fire. Look up the trailer. I'll give you this. The trailer, it sells you a better movie than what you get. It's one of those where they took all the best scenes in the movie. You know, the trailer makes the movie look like a 10 out of 10. And this movie, I don't hate it as much as everyone else does. In fact, I rather enjoyed the movie, and I think you should go see it for yourself and make up your own mind. I would probably give this like an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm glad I saw it in theaters. I got to see it on on an IMAX screen. Oh man. And the visuals in this movie absolutely pop. Like, this is a good looking movie. I looked at the budget. Budget's like 27 million. They're not gonna, it's a low key horror movie. They're not gonna make that back. But yeah, they spent their money. 27 million on the screen, beautiful visuals. The marketing has been very misleading. Like, even here it says, yeah, from producer Jordan Peele. So yeah, Jordan Peele had nothing to do with this fucking had nothing to do with this movie. This movie is directed by Justin Tipping, a person I've never heard of until now. Justin Tipping, I looked him up. He directed a movie called Kicks back in like 2016 that no one ever talks about. He hasn't done a whole lot. So all of the marketing has been like, Jordan Peele produced this movie, directed by, and then in like the little corner it says directed by Justin Tipping. I've even seen trailers. I'll forgive people where, this movie deals with certain topics and themes that you would, and it's filmed just like a Jordan Peele movie. So you kind of see the trailer and you just assume it's a Jordan Peele movie, and you wouldn't be wrong for assuming that. I mean, all the trailers, I even saw one trailer where Jordan Peele's in the trailer. He's like introduces it. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm Jordan Peele. I had nothing to do with this movie, but I'm here now, and I want to tell you to go see this movie because it's pretty cool." And Justin Tipping is like the brightest new filmmaker of our generation. I'm like, I saw that. I was like, so why don't you let him talk in the trailer? Like, why isn't he introducing his own film? Why are you introducing it? Because people know Jordan Peele. He's basically a household name now when it comes to horror. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, like if we're grading this on a scale of like, so let's look at Jordan Peele's stuff. Get Out, Us, Nope. I'm putting those at like the 10 out of 10 territory. Okay, him doesn't even come close to that. But it's also not fair to really compare that. Like, this is not. Don't go into this expecting a Jordan Peele film, because it's not. I would still give this like an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm glad I saw it. I would go see it again. I love just seeing all of the visuals on the screen, seeing it in IMAX. The movie has great sound design. And I love this like unique mashup. Okay, this is a football horror movie. Have you ever name me another one? Name me another sports horror hybrid movie. Okay, go, go. So like that's where I always love unique ideas, like unique horror movies. That always gets bonus points for me. I'm already more inclined to see this than, I mean, like, here, perfect example. What else is playing right now? The Conjuring Last Rites. Okay, I'm not gonna see another fucking ghost movie, another fucking possession movie, another fucking demon movie. How many times? How many Insidiouses and Conjurings? You know what I mean? Or Exorcisms of Emily Roses, or or what's the other one? Paranormal Activity. How many more Paranormal Activities are we gonna do? Like, come on, enough of that. Enough ghost bullshit. Like, this is something different. And that wins so many points for me. I would much rather see more movies like him in the theater than whatever Paranormal Activity 7, Insidious Part 5, Chapter 2. It's like, enough. So yeah, I went to see this movie. This movie is absolutely worth seeing for the performance of Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans plays Isaiah White, the main character's new trainer. So long story short, this movie is about a lot of things, but it's about this young guy, Cameron Cade, or Cam Cade. He sounds like a Marvel character. He really does, with the alliteration. But Cam Cade, it goes into like, the sports world, and how in some ways the sports world can be almost like an intoxicating, cultish type of thing where you're indoctrinated from your youth. I mean, the first scene, we see Cam as a little boy. He grows up, and his dad is all about the sports. He has the posters of Isaiah everywhere. He has Cam wearing Isaiah's jersey. He's holding the football. They're watching the football game together. They're cheering on the team. The team is called the Saviors, by the way. There's a lot of I'll say a lot of critics have pointed out like the sort of ham-fisted religious imagery. Yeah, I mean it's a little in your face. I appreciate that they tried to include some symbolism, some imagery. They went a little far. Yeah, I mean it's pretty on the nose. Like Cam's team is the Saviors. He's working with Isaiah White. In this image at least, he's standing with his arms out like Jesus. Like there's a lot of like religious imagery. And also some demonic imagery. I mean, the mascot for the Saviors team is a goat, and actually I like the little parallel there where they had they drew some cool parallels between like the demonic or the supernatural and the football world, because in so much satanic imagery you have like the satanic goat, like the sacrifice for the devil or whatever, and this mascot character definitely looks very devilish. But then we also have the sports term GOAT, greatest of all time. And Cam says in an interview, like, what do you want to be? I want to be the GOAT, But like, okay, but does he get his wish, or does he become a different kind of goat? You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's cool how they have like the double meaning there. But yeah, the opening scene is pretty chilling, pretty disturbing, because like, their hero Isaiah, he's playing football, right, and he gets injured, and by the way, they would never show this on a televised broadcast. Like, they would probably cut the feed, or at least not. They freaking zoom in on Isaiah. Isaiah's on the field, and like his leg is broken. His bone is like sticking out of his leg. They would not show this on television. I'm sorry, but like, Cam's dad, Father of the Year, Cam obviously like kind of turns his head. He's like, oh shit, but his dad turns his head back. He's like, no, you watch, son. That's a real man. That's a man that makes a sacrifice for his team. That's a real man. You be more like Isaiah White. And I was like, oh God, okay, here we go. So his dad's like a total psychopath. Yeah. But yeah, no, it goes into like sort of the indoctrination of like, I've all like growing up as Cam Cade, right? You have no choice. Like, obviously, this guy became a star football player, and he was destined to be. Like, there was no choice in the matter, right? And then, well, I'll get into spoilers in a little bit, but, like, yeah, he really did that. He did not have a choice, but, like, we'll get into that. But, like, no, I've thought about this for a while, where, like, I am, it's funny that I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this movie because it's unique, and also because I love horror movies in general. We all have our own biases. Like, I happen to be biased towards horror movies. But yeah, I don't like sports. I don't know anything about football. I don't know anything about sports. I don't like football. So in some ways I'm not really qualified to talk about this movie, but I went to see it anyway because it looked cool. And that's where I'm really curious to see where football fans like kind of stand on this one. Like, do they like this movie? I don't know. I know critics don't. I know critics don't. And in fact, let me say real quick, Marlon Wayans, he actually responded. I read a statement by him. He had to respond to all of the backlash this movie's getting, and he handled it like perfectly well. Like he's basically said something like to the effect of, he was like, yeah, like I respect the critics. I respect what they said. It's their job to critique my movie. I respect what they're saying, but at the same time, I want people to realize that at the end of the day, a critic is still just giving his opinion. Critics still have their own biases, and I agree with that. They certainly have their own biases against horror movies. Critics are always slanted against horror. It takes a lot for a horror movie to get like a good Rotten Tomatoes score. It really does. That isn't to say that this movie is above criticism. Like, there are certainly problems with it. We'll go into it. But no, I agree with him. And he basically said at the end of the day, he was like, yeah, no, just keep in mind that these are opinions, and I still encourage you to go see this movie because I think it's a work of art, and I want you to see this movie, and I want you to make your own opinion. Perfect, classy way to respond to that situation where people have just been like nonstop dumping on his movie, which he worked very, very hard on. I mean, Marlon Wayans as Isaiah White. I mean, if he doesn't get recognized for this performance, and he won't because it's a horror movie and critics like to ignore horror movies, he deserves an award for his performance in this movie. Like, Marlon Wayans gave 110% to this character. I would say it's worth seeing the movie just for him. I really would. But yeah, like, lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so but I always thought about this, where I'm like, I don't really like sports, and growing up in my household, my pops, he wasn't a sports guy either. Like, he just liked watching like weird old horror movies, and that's kind of where I got my, I guess that's where I kind of got my interests from, because like I started to seek out like weird, foreign old horror movies. So like when I got older, probably because of my dad's influence. But I've always wondered about that, because like football, sports in general, or especially football, it's a very bonding, like father-son type of activity. So like if you don't have that component, I do feel like you're less likely to become a sports person. Like, I always wonder about that. Like, even though I don't like sports, if I grew up in a household where my dad was like, it was like Cam's dad, where like you got the posters everywhere, you're watching the game every Saturday, whether you like it or not, I probably would have liked football. It would have been a totally different path for me. It's interesting. So this movie, I can't say this movie's an F. I can't say this movie's bad. It got me thinking. It did. Any movie that gets you thinking is not a bad movie. I'm sorry. And the visuals in this movie are fantastic. Marlon Wayans' performance is fantastic. Like, this movie is worth seeing. I'm gonna tell you right now. I know a lot of people are shitting on it. It's not a perfect movie. I understand why some people have issues with it, but I really enjoyed it. But yeah, going on. So Cameron Cade grows up, in this household where he is very strongly pressured to become the next football star. And guess what? He becomes the next football star. But and he's like all set to enter. I forget what they call it. They have like some big tournament coming up, but there's like a qualifying thing where like the scouts are looking at you or whatever. But Cam doesn't make it to that, because Cam, he's partying one night, and he's outside, and a mascotted figure with a sledgehammer attacks him and bashes him in the head with a sledgehammer. And he is attacked by, you could say, the GOAT. Interesting. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going into spoilers, just so you know. But it's pretty well telegraphed that, like, in the very next scene, so yeah, what happened? Cameron got attacked by the GOAT, who had a sledgehammer. When he goes to Isaiah's training compound, the first thing he sees is Isaiah. Isaiah is, like, practicing this creepy taxidermy hobby of his, and he's, like, hammering something in to like, hammering the dead animal into the wooden block or something. Oh, gee, I wonder, could it be? Where did he learn how to hammer things so well, Has he used that skill anywhere else? Yeah, I know. I think you know who the mascot is. But yeah, so Isaiah is given like a special shot where like he has this like debilitating injury now. His skull was fractured, and so he has to be very careful when he plays football. If he hits his head, it could cause permanent damage and make him retire. That's an element of the movie that kind of goes away. I wish it was more of an element of the movie, because when you see the trailer, right, the trailer does a good job. It shows like the scar he has on his head, and like it has all these quick cuts of him playing football, and it shows like the skull fracture getting worse and worse, and like he's gonna see more fucked up shit because his injury is getting worse, his mental injury, his head injury, I wish they played more with that, but like that just kind of goes away. I mean, you would think like if his head was injured and he can't really play football anymore, then that should be it. But he still wants to play football, so he can't enter the qualifier thingy, mabobber. But he's given a special deal where he goes to like this creepy, week long training camp with his, his hero, his football god, his football hero, Isaiah White. And if he passes the camp, then Isaiah will just kind of give him a place on the team, the Saviors, because Isaiah is getting ready to retire, so he needs someone else to take a spot on the Saviors. So that's what Cam's plan is. He gets a lot more than he bargained for. This movie has two very different gears. I'm going to make a weird comparison, but honestly, it reminded me of the movie Full Metal Jacket in a way. If you guys seen that Stanley Kubrick movie back in the day, I mean, everyone loves the boot camp segment, right? With like Private Pyle slowly going insane and shit. Again, it's a lot like this movie, but yeah, like and the sadistic drill sergeant. Again, it's a lot like this movie. But yeah, everyone loves that first half of Full Metal Jacket. But then when it goes to like the actual like war segment where they deploy, in my opinion, it gets kind of boring, and it's a totally different movie now, and that's where the movie kind of lost me. And I feel exactly the same way about him, and I think everyone feels that same way, where we all like the first like half to 2/3 of the movie where he's in like this creepy, crazy football training camp from hell. That's all really interesting stuff. It's just the end of the movie, the third act of the movie, Are we sure this isn't a Jordan Peele movie? Jordan Peele, who is like known to not be able to end his movies on a satisfying note, or his movies always go off the rails in the third act. Yeah, this movie is kind of a Jordan Peele movie where the third act, it just completely goes off the rails. It becomes like much more supernatural and, you know, gory and violent out of left field. Like, if it had been set up well, that'd be one thing, but like it turns into like a bloodbath, and like it's just kind of like, what? Like everyone in my theater was laughing. I'm talking about like people exploding in geysers of blood. Like there was never like a supernatural element in this movie, but then all of a sudden his agent, played by Tim Heidecker, by the way, a comedian. Tim Heidecker, well, actually, I've mostly seen Marlon Wayans in comedies too. Same with Jordan Peele, actually. There is like this crossover pollination of like comedy into horror. Like Jordan Peele was a comedian, then he started directing horror. Marlon Wayans is in a lot of comedies, but he is a good actor. He's a very good actor. I've heard he's good in Requiem for a Dream. I still have to watch that movie, actually. But he's so good in this. Like, I want to see him in more serious roles because he can do it. He can absolutely do it. But yeah, no, it suddenly takes a turn where Tim Heidecker shows up, and he's the main guy's agent, and there was all these like cults, you know, backdoor dealings where Cam was groomed as a child, and like the cult leader, it turns out the cult leader was friends with Cam's dad, and all this shit. And anyway, the agent is like suddenly pulled across. Cam decides not to kill him. He's killing everyone else with the mascot sledgehammer, but he decides not to kill the manager. And then the manager is like pulled by these dark forces, like these invisible hands pull him across the room into the center of this pentagram, and then he explodes in blood. And it's like, what? So there were demons this whole time? What? I thought it was just Marlon Wayans in the goat costume that attacked him and set this whole thing in motion. Like, I don't know. I don't know. One detail I picked up on, there's a lot of like little details that I love in this movie, but I don't have a good picture here, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But when he gets his injury, right, when he gets like the scar, he has to have like these stitches in his skull. He has like these stitches on his head, and it took me a few minutes to realize, oh, it looks just like the fucking laces on a football. Like just little visual touches like that are like 10 out of 10. Like this had the potential to be a 10 out of 10. I'll say that right now. It was so unique. It was so fun. But yeah, like, so the main feeling of the movie, and this is what a lot of people say, and I kind of agree, the main character, Cam Cade, played by Tyreek Winters, he is from not a whole lot. I looked him up. I forgot he was in this. He was kind of the asshole character in the I Know What You Did Last Summer remake that came out recently. He's not a great actor. He's really not at all a good actor. He's pretty wooden. So like that doesn't help. That doesn't help. What does help is Marlon Wayans gives 110%. He's worth seeing the movie for. Now, unfortunately, I wish the main character had been played by a slightly better actor, or I was thinking about this today. Guys, I was thinking about this. Like, tell me what you think about this. In fact, this is where the chat can help me. People are telling me to like interact with the chat some more, so like I apologize, you know. It's hard. It's hard. Like, it's funny where, like, I mean, I don't have much excuse. I'm just sitting here on a bench, like, bitching about whatever movie of the week. But, like, I don't know how streamers do it. Like people like Spoonie or whatever, like, they'll, like, give him shit. Like, you're not reading the chat or you're not responding to the chat. I'm like, dude, he's playing Dark Souls, and he's trying to perform well because he knows you guys will flame him in the chat if he performs poorly on Dark, he's playing Dark Souls, and he's supposed to also read the chat on the side and respond to comments in the chat while playing Dark Souls or whatever. Like, that's really hard. That's a skill. I can't do that. I absolutely can't do that. So like I'm so impressed that people are able to play their games and also like constantly interact with their chat while doing it. Anyway, it's very impressive. But I wanted to ask you guys, so like, because I don't know anything about sports, but like, just like who's blowing up? Like who is like a popular NFL player right now? Like who is like a football player that you know off the top of your head? Patrick Mahomes. I'm seeing Patrick Mahomes. I'm seeing a lot of people say Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce. I'm seeing that name a lot in the chat. Okay, that's good enough. But so take one of those guys. I was about to say like Donovan McNabb, but like that's old news, isn't it? I don't know anything about sports. But like find a real NFL player. Maybe this was too hard, or maybe they would have asked for too much money. But find a real NFL player like Travis Kelce. Pay Travis Kelce whatever, $2 million to be in your dumb horror movie as the lead character, and that would add that level of like, cred. You know what I mean? Like that. Oh, we actually have a real, like, we're doing like kind of a horror critique of the football world, and an NFL star is like in our movie. That would have like added this extra layer to it that I would have appreciated. And it honestly, like, you know, we've seen this all the time in movies with like Space Jam or any movie where a sports star has to lead a movie. They're not the best actors, okay? They are there to perform physically on the court or whatever, you know. But like, well, we would forgive him if this character was played by Travis Kelce. We would forgive him because we're like, well, he's not even an actor; he's a football player, you know. So his wooden performance would be a lot more forgiven. I think they should have gone that route instead of like paying this no-name actor who can't really act too well. That's just my opinion. But I think that would have worked out better for the movie. What else? Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of elements in this movie that kind of just pop in and out of nowhere. So, like, when he gets to the creepy training camp with Isaiah, there's, like, this woman, I think her name's, like, Mallory or something, and she has, like, these goons that are always wearing these weird outfits, and they're again, over-the-top critiques of, like, football fans or fanatics. I mean, she's like clawing at his limo window when he first drives up, and she's like, "You're not worthy to take over his spot," and she like spits on him. She goes, "Hawk tu." She hawk toes on his window, and she's obsessed with Isaiah. So like, I mean, I'm sure there are people like that with these sports stars. So it's like that's not even that far off the mark. Like people that just like stalk them and like hide outside their house trying to get like a picture with them or something. Like you know, but yeah, like. And then this woman here, Isaiah's wife, another character that I felt was like very underused. So I was trying to figure out who this is. Doesn't she look? She looks just like. I feel like she looks like Hunter Schafer. Doesn't she look like Jules from Euphoria? I thought it was Jules. It's not. It's not. This actress's name is Julia Fox, and she looks totally different. But she was in Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. I didn't recognize her. I was like, who is this woman? I know I've seen her somewhere. But she's also very good in the movie. I like her a lot. I hope I see her in more movies. And she's always, you see it from this picture, she's always wearing these like crazy, like Lady Gaga, like, you know, outfits made out of diamonds or whatever the hell. And obviously she represents like, you know, excess as far as wealth. I mean, she's the wife of a football hero. So she's just living her best life, living up, you know, doing all the drugs and whatnot and buying like all this materialistic crap that she doesn't need. But I don't know. I felt like there was like some slight like tension between her and Cam. Like it doesn't go anywhere. And one other thing that they brought up that doesn't go. Oh yeah, and also I looked her up. Julia Fox in real life, like she's just playing herself in this movie. Like in real life, she has like a Lady Gaga type of social media personality where she shows up to events like wearing these insane outfits, like outfits made out of like whatever fish hooks or whatever. So like she's like this is on brand for her. But yeah, no, she's kind of a big character in the movie until she's not. But she's Isaiah's wife, and she welcomes Cam to the compound. And I felt like she was almost kind of flirting with him. But, like, again, that doesn't really go anywhere. And another thing that doesn't go anywhere, I really wanted them to play into whatchamacallit. So, how do I put this delicately? So, Marlon Wayans is black. And how do I put this delicately? Marlon Wayans is black. Oh God. So Cam is also black, but he's very, very light skinned. And in fact, Marlon Wayans calls him a term that I'm not sure that I can say, being a person of not African American ancestry, but he calls him a certain term. And there's also a line in the movie later on where they're at like this gala, and Cam is standing next to Isaiah and his wife, and the guy basically says like, oh, like he looks like he could be your son, you know, because we have a white wife, a black dad, and you know, a child who is very light skinned but still African American. It would fit, right? Like it would totally fit. And Cam's dad mysteriously died, and you know, he grew up without a father. Isaiah's kind of becoming his father figure in a way, and also the football hero that he always wanted to train with. So I was hoping there would be some kind of crazy twist where like he in fact is their child, or like their illegitimate child or some shit, and they're like welcoming him home. Like, I mean, that would explain why is he so good at football? Oh, he's got Isaiah's, you know, genes or his blood in him. Well, actually, we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that. But yeah, they don't really go. They just kind of mention that as like an idea, but then that never pays off or goes anywhere. Like that would have been a cool twist. It's like, oh, actually, because the main question is like, why don't you just leave? You know, but it's like, oh no, he's like, this is my family. You know, like, you know, that'd be one reason to stay. I mean, yeah, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. He wants to be the GOAT, and he gets to train with Isaiah. But like, any normal person, any rational person, once you get to like the training segment and you see how like people are getting fucked up, people are basically getting horribly maimed and even murdered, and Isaiah has no remorse about it at all. He's a total psychopath. At that point, I would be like, okay, bye. I mean, to be fair, the compound's out in the middle of nowhere, and they even take away his phone. They're like, you can't have any communication with the outside world. That's a little sus. It's supposed to like, what's the word? I almost said indoctrinate, but I mean basically indoctrinate him. But it's supposed to like seal him off from the outside world, so there's no distraction, so he can concentrate on his football, right? That's the excuse, but it's also so that he can't like fucking call the cops when they start killing people. And I wish there were more elements of this where like, they showed how like, oh, he wants to escape, he just can't. But it really doesn't go in that direction per se, and it doesn't help. He is kind of like a wooden actor. He should be more horrified about the things that are going on. He should be trying to escape or trying to call home. Like, I think there's even a thing in the trailer that got cut out. There's some things in the trailer that I didn't see in the movie. To be fair, I had to piss at one point, so maybe I missed it. But I saw in the trailer there's a scene where like he like sees someone that looks like him, or like he basically sees his double that attacks him. I didn't see that in the movie. There's a scene in the trailer where he's like calling his mom and he's like, hey, this is really messed up. I need to get out of here. That wasn't really in the movie. But like, yeah, no, there's elements of like, so Isaiah's, what do you call it? His like fitness instructor or whatever you want to call it. This guy is like constantly giving Cam like, medicine or injections or, this and that. Blood transfusions. It sounds a little weird, right? Yeah. But he's like, no, this will help you, perform better. This will help you, do better. Blah blah blah. Performance enhancements. Athletes don't take those, right? But there's a part where the trainer kind of breaks down and is drunk. Is like, yeah, I haven't seen my family in years. Like, I can't leave. Like, he won't let me leave. Like, that was creepy as fuck. Then there's another party scene where he like goes up to Cam. He like whispers in his ear. He's like, run. He just says one word. He's like, run. And then he just walks away. And then Julia Fox gives the trainer like this dirty look. And I was like, and that was creepy as hell. Like, I wanted more scenes like more moments like that in the movie. And this scene was weird too. I feel like this scene was like a reference to The Room or something, where like he's like she's trying to get him to go to this party to meet all of these like bigwigs, and he's like, nah, I think I'll just stay here and like run some more reps. But he's already in the tux. Like, why are you working out in a tux? Like, what? It's not like, it would have made much more sense if he was like in his gym shorts. He's like, oh no, I'm all sweaty and like I have to change, and she like convinces him to go to the party anyway. But he's already in the tux. Like, just go to the party, bro. But like that reminded me of The Room, where remember they're in the alley in The Room and they're like playing football in their tuxes. That's like on the level of that. Like I have to wonder if that was like a reference or something. Especially since in The Room, what are they playing? They're playing football. I don't know. It's possible. But yeah, no. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, the best scene in the movie, it's the one you see in the trailer. It's when he's first training with, like, the guy, like, Marlon Wayans has, like, these guys come out, and they're like, oh, yeah, they're just here to play ball with us or whatever. And he's like, Sadat! And it's very intense. He's like, Sadat! And they do a good job of, like, cutting back and forth to, like, the, whatever you call it, the football launching machine. They keep dialing it up so, like, you hear the gears turning, and it's like, you hear, like, the engine whirring, and it's like, it's firing the balls out faster and faster. And so they play this fucked up Squid Game type of game where he has to, as soon as he has like whatever 2 seconds to react, and Marlon Wayans is like shut, and he has to aim his arm up and throw the shot, and the person he passes to has to catch the ball. If he doesn't catch the ball, then he hears the big and then whoever is next in line near the football launcher gets blasted in the fucking face with the football, and they keep on cranking it up. And when it first happens, the guy's like, what the fuck's going on here? And he's like, yeah, just keep, don't worry about that. Just keep throwing the ball. Just keep throwing the ball to make sure you don't make any mistakes. Your team is counting on you. And he means that literally now. He's like, yeah, their lives literally depend on you. You can't fuck up. You're the QB, okay? The entire team's win or loss depends on you. It's resting on your shoulders. You cannot fuck up these passes. And so it's very tense. And it just keeps going faster. Say hut. And he's freaking the fuck out. He's like, I need some guys that can fucking catch the ball. And really, it is the best sequence in the movie. Like it's so intense, it's so dramatic, it's so well done. And Marlon Wayans is perfect. He's like freaking out. He's like, that man's smile is about to be on the floor. This is how you do. Your teammates are gonna die because of you. Their blood is on your hands. And when they first, like when the main character starts freaking out, he like goes up to him and he's like, "You need to get your fucking shit together." Boop. He taps his nose. He's like playful. He's like evil for a second. Then he's like playful. Boop. All right, see you on the court. See you on the field. And so he's like totally bipolar. Again, Marlon Wayans' performance is fantastic. It's worth seeing the movie alone for. And you can see how like he is like this very charismatic guy, like, and he's fun to party with. Like, there's a whole scene in the movie where he's just like, yeah, let's just forget about training. Let's just get fucked up. Let's have some fun. Like whatever. And so like, and Cam Cade, like he is like missing that father figure in his life. So I wish they played more into this, but like that's what Isaiah is to him. Like he's like, I want this father figure, even though he's like fucked up and basically killing people. I want him in my life. Because he is like charismatic, he is like fun to be around sometimes, and he is like your best friend sometimes, and he is like, training him to become a better athlete. So you can see how he's like kind of intoxicated and indoctrinated and can't leave. Another cool thing, again, it's talking about a lot of stuff, but like it's talking about like how athletes turn to drugs and performance enhancing drugs to improve their game because they get so obsessed with the game. And I'm sure this happens in real life where like the trainer's just pumping you full of shit. You don't even know what it is half the time, and Cam doesn't know what it is. The trainer's just like, don't worry about it. He just sticks an IV in him, or he just gives him some pills to eat, and he's like, yeah, just take this. Don't worry about it. It'll make you better. It'll take the pain away. I'm sure that's what happens with some athletes where they just get addicted to whatever, and we never know what's getting injected into him. But we do know one thing where Isaiah is like constantly taking these blood transfusions from himself, and he's like, yeah, this is the good shit. This helps me play better. And he eventually convinces Cam to put his own blood into him. It's a whole thing where you eventually realize that like this is how it works. Where like there are like these like dark supernatural cult underlying things here where like you have like the blood of like the original football players that have been. This is where the movie completely jumps the rails and turns into like a Blumhouse movie, but I still loved it. But it was a very different movie where they're like it's like anime football territory where it's like, yeah, no, like these are the original football warriors and their blood has been literally passed down to players, and that's how you become good at football. Is you take their sacred holy blood and you become like the ultimate football warrior. And so that's what Isaiah's been doing. It's in his blood, and that's why he's sharing his blood with Cam. So he's gonna make Cam the next him, basically, because it's his time to retire or whatever. And even that element is actually based on a very real life thing that I had to look up. I couldn't believe this was real. I had to double check this, but blood doping is a real thing in the sports world. Have you guys heard of this shit? This is scary. So like the whole thing, and again, I'm not like a big sports medicine person, but like the more red blood cells you have, the more readily you can send oxygen to your body, the better you can perform, right? So like you're looking for ways to artificially increase your red blood cell count. So what they'll do what Isaiah's been doing, where he like takes his own blood out, and then later he'll give himself a blood transfusion of his own blood to artificially increase his red blood cell count. But it's very dangerous. Like you can fucking get a blood clot and basically die from doing shit, like, or you can just, at the very least, you can very seriously injure yourself by doing shit like this. Like, you shouldn't be messing with this shit, but football players do it, and it's not like a drug, so it's harder to detect in their system. Oh my god, yeah, and everyone in the chat saying like, yep, 100% true, yep, it's very scary shit, yeah. Like, I couldn't believe that was real. So like, at first, that was gonna be one of the more like over the top things I was gonna point to in the movie. I'm like, well, okay, this would never happen in the football world. I'm like, no, it is happening in the football world. Blood doping is 100% real, and it's very scary to me. Like, I didn't know about this at all. So again, I can't hate this movie. It taught me something. Like, I didn't know anything about this, thing in the sports world that's going on right now. So like, there you go. I learned something from this movie. Yeah, I mean, people were, I don't know, like people in the reviews, like they're saying it's boring, that's not scary. I don't know how you can watch this movie. Like this, I thought this movie was very scary. I really did. I thought the imagery was very impactful, very, very jarring, very off-putting. I thought the cinematography was beautiful. I thought like some of the acting was superb. Visually, the movie's a visual treat. It really is. You see that 27 million on screen. I don't know how you can watch this movie and think it's boring. I really don't. Especially the ending where it turns into a fucking like bloodbath, like literally a bloodbath. Like no, like I don't think the movie was boring at all ever. It definitely switches gears and turns into a very different movie. And I have criticism for that. I thought the ending wasn't set up very well, and it does turn into a very different movie. But and like here, this scene is actually from the end of the movie where he wins like he has like a gladiatorial battle with Isaiah, and one of them can walk out as the new QB. The only one can remain, type of thing. And when he walks out into the stadium, it's like this fucked up, twisted football stadium where you can see like the cheerleaders don't even have faces. Like it's cool. Like I wanted more scenes like that. I did. And what someone pointed out to me, this is another flaw. So the whole movie, it was just about the fucked up training camp, and I did like the training camp. I wanted more scenes of that, actually, like the football launcher scene. But he's been preparing this whole time to become a football player, right? We never actually see him play a real game, and that's where I think football fans will be disappointed. I didn't mind because I don't really like football anyway. But to be fair, it's like if it's a movie about football, yeah, maybe show an actual football game. Like maybe actually have him playing a game. Well, he couldn't because the things that Isaiah is teaching him will get him disqualified instantly. That's the other sequence I really liked. I'll wrap this up in a minute, but I'll mention one more sequence I liked real quick. So besides the football launcher scene, there's another good scene where he's wearing like the full helmet and the eye shield, so he can't really see too well, and everyone's just like slamming into him. They're being super aggressive and hurting him, and he's like, blood's flying everywhere. And Isaiah's trying to make him more like him, basically, where he's like, this isn't like, softball. Like you gotta fight for your life here. And it does this cool photo negative thing where it switches to like a photo negative, and you can't really tell who is who, but you see one guy go berserk, and he's just like, even though he has the head injury, he's just like skull bashing, like ramming his head into other people and fucking them up really bad. And then when that sequence ends, Cam's like, woo! He's all roided up. He's like, yeah, I did it! Like roid rage, basically. And the other guy's on the ground, like twitching, like he's suffered a severe head injury. Probably is going to die. And that's one thing that didn't make total sense because, like, again, I thought he had a very serious head injury. He can't get hit in the head again or else he'll die, and we just throw that out the window, like, whatever. But, he's become a monster. He's, like, crippled this guy for life, this other guy for life. And Isaiah, like, runs over. And at first, Cam, like, apologizes. Like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Is he going to be okay? And Isaiah just grabs him and hugs him. He's like, I'm so fucking proud of you right now. I love you, man. Like, it's like, oh, no. Oh, no. But, yeah. So he does at first show a little remorse for like the horrific things that they're doing, but then he just goes out the window. Mallory's whole thing was kind of out of left field and like really didn't feel super satisfyingly concluded. So she sneaks into the compound. She's so obsessed, and she like Cam's in the sauna, and she attacks him with a rock and tries to kill him, and then he like, I swear he like killed her because he like jumps on her and like chokes the hell out of her, and she's not moving. And then he's like, oh my God, what did I do? And then Isaiah shows up, and then she just gets up again, and it's like she's alive again, and then she attacks Isaiah, and Isaiah starts to strangle her also, but then he randomly makes out with her, but then he continues to strangle with her, and then he throws her against the wall and breaks her neck and actually kills her. It was a really weird sequence. And then Cam's like, stunned, but Isaiah's like, oh, don't worry about it. And then they have another scene right after that, where I feel like this was wasted potential, where they go to the shooting range, and they're again, what does this have to do with football? Well, they have football mascots and jerseys set up to like shoot with the sniper rifle, but he has his goons bring out this mascot character who clearly there's someone in the suit. Like you see him moving around a little bit, but he's like, here's the next target, blah blah blah. And so Cam takes the gun, and this would have been the perfect opportunity where. Like there's a couple things you could have done here. Like, I wanted him to take off the mask, like Isaiah's goons take off the mascot mask, and it's like, it's Mallory, and he's like, you need to finish what you started. You didn't kill her. She's still not dead. You need to like kill her for real. Like that would have been a more satisfying thing for her. It's not. They don't do that. The other thing I wanted them to do is Cam's family, like his remaining family. He has a girlfriend back home who he cheats on. He has a girlfriend back home. He has a brother. He has a mother. Those characters completely become irrelevant right after the start of the movie. I wanted them to bring back like maybe he he tried to call his mom at one point. He did, and he was like talking to her blah 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 on like the payphone. So I wanted them to like maybe kidnap the mom, and then they take the mask off, and it's the mom. And he's like, you need to like get rid of your past life if you want to seize glory. You need to be willing to sacrifice anything. You told me to sacrifice anything, and he's like, I will. And he shoots her. He shoots his mom or something. They don't do that. I mean, we don't know who it was. We never know who it was, but he does shoot the mascot and kills him. So yeah, he's willing to do anything to be the next GOAT. And then again, GOAT is possibly referring to this demonic mascot character, also played by Isaiah. So he does want to be the next GOAT, but it turns out Isaiah is that kind of GOAT as well. It's like this whole thing, satanic influence. Yeah, like again, the premise wasn't bad, and it was just the execution. It was really, they needed a better actor to play Cam. But like, I would have liked, I like this idea of this movie where like he's at the training camp, he can't escape, it just keeps going on. He keeps on being forced to do more horrific things, and he becomes more desensitized. Like, it bothers him less and less each time. He doesn't react as much each time he does something like kill someone, right? And they also play up how like these football fanatics, like, they worship his eye. They'll do anything for him. Like the football launcher scene, all those guys were there voluntarily. They were there, they wanted to be there. And Isaiah even says, like, no, these guys want to be here. Like, they want to do this for me. And, like, even the guy who gets really fucked up by the football launcher, like, his teeth get knocked out, he gets up off the ground, he's laughing, he shakes Isaiah's hand, he's like, thank you for this opportunity, sir. So it was such a pleasure to work with you. And, like, that's fucked. Like, he doesn't even realize he just got horribly maimed, or he doesn't care, because he did it all for Isaiah. I've rambled on long enough. Him won't be in theaters much longer. It is bombing, unfortunately, and the competition is too strong from Demon Slayer and other movies that are coming out. If you get a chance this weekend, go see him. I highly recommend it. I think you'll have a good time. Just go and lower your expectations. It's not a Jordan Peele movie, but it's a fun, dumb, scary movie with a unique concept. All right, see ya.